want them to feel that I am their voice in city government.
The candidates for Columbia's first ward are speaking out about what they want done. Good afternoon. I'm Brittany Pieper.
And I'm Angie Bailey. Thanks for joining us. Election day is wrapping up, and the candidates are anxiously awaiting those results. KOMU 8's Natalie Granda sat down with two of the candidates today. She joins us live at a polling station with what they had to say. Natalie?
I'm here at the Columbia Public Library where people reporting live in Columbia. Natalie Granda, KOMU 8 News.
Now, despite projected low voter turnout for today's elections, there was a steady flow of voters going in and out of Community Methodist Church in Columbia. Some came in to cast the ballots before heading off to work this morning. One issue on the ballots, a $50 million bond that would pay for the new building of an elementary school in Columbia, as well as provide facility improvements to other schools in the district. Voters and poll workers say schools are a top concern.
The school board issue is certainly important because of the spending issues that they're going to take up and how that'll affect things, 5-10 years out with the new buildings they'll have constructed and whatnot.
Well, I grew up in a state where education is very important, and I always look for opportunities to support education as one of my priorities, one of my voting priorities.
And Boone County Clerk Wendy Noren predicts between 18,000 and 19,000 voters will cast their ballots in today's election. You can look at the full list of polling places on our website at KOMU.com.
Voters are also at the polls in Ashland today, where there are only two contested races. KOMU 8's Josh Sultan is live in Ashland with voter reaction there. Josh?
The Ashland Baptist Church behind me. Reporting live in Ashland, Josh Sultan, KOMU 8 News.
Elsewhere in mid-Missouri, voters are also heading to the polls in Avaz, Centralia, Hallsville, Rocheport, and Sturgeon, where they're going to elect aldermen. And Boone County Fire Protection District voters will decide on a $14 million bond proposal. The bond would pay for equipment upgrades and a new fire station. Make sure you stay with KOMU 8 throughout the night tonight as election results come in. We'll have a ticker on our website with up-to-date numbers, as well as continued coverage on our 9 and 10 p.m. newscasts.
Switching gears, Ameren, Missouri is constructing an 11-mile natural gas pipeline that will stretch from Columbia to Ashland. The pipeline follows the east side of 63, but construction will not interfere with traffic. You probably won't even notice it from the highway, in fact. The new line won't affect utility bills either. Ameren says the Jefferson City pipeline to Ashland can't support the area's growth.
Projecting out into the future, what the growth is occurring in the area, showed the need that we need increased capacity to make sure we're serving reliable service to our customers.
Ameren spent the last few years preparing to pay for the project. Holman says the pipeline should be done by September. An accidental fire at a Missouri State Highway Patrol maintenance building has caused $5 million in damage. The building itself is valued at $3.8 million. The fire started because of an electrical short underneath the back seat of a pickup truck parked in one of the garage bays around 12:45 this morning. The majority of the damage was in the garage. Troopers used the Jefferson City garage for trading in old patrol cars for new ones. Captain Tim Hull addressed how that fire is going to impact operations.
It's going to take us a while to get back up to speed again because there is quite a bit of damage to the building. But we do have some other buildings, some other options. We're kind of looking at those other options right now to see what's available.
Crews have started removing supplies that can still be salvaged. No one was hurt in the incident.
A new voice in the right-to-work debate, the president of Americans for Tax Reform sent a letter to state lawmakers this week claiming Missouri could be left behind economically if the proposals voted down. The legislation would stop employers from forcing workers to join a union. Opponents of the legislation argue it would limit the ability of unions to negotiate on behalf of workers. President Obama discusses equal pay and General Motors announces more job opportunities. KOMU 8's Brianna Strubler is here with those stories and more in your First Nation report.
President Obama signed a pair of executive orders today boosting equal pay fairness for women. One order will ban federal contractors from acting against employees who discuss compensation, and the other order will require federal contractors to submit pay data to the Labor Department. President Obama said discrepancies in pay between men and women need to go.
Today, the average full-time working woman earns just 77 cents for every dollar a man earns. For African-American women, Latinas, it's even less. And in 2014, that's an embarrassment.
Former President Jimmy Carter will speak tonight on the first day of the Civil Rights Summit at the LBJ Presidential Library in Texas. Summit marks the 50th anniversary of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, which outlawed discrimination in public places based on race, ethnicity, religion, or gender. The summit began this afternoon with a panel on gay marriage. President Barack Obama and former Presidents George W. Bush and Bill Clinton will also speak at the three-day event. General Motors made a major announcement today in Detroit. The automotive company plans to invest $449 million to upgrade manufacturing at 2 plants. $384 million will go to the Detroit assembly plant for upgrades needed to build the next generation Chevrolet Volt. The remaining money will go to the Brownstone battery plant to support future battery systems. The investment is expected to add about 1,400 jobs to the area. And that's your first look around the nation.
In your world news, tensions are still high in Ukraine. Officials say 60 people are being held against their will by pro-Russian separatists who have taken over a government building with weapons and explosives. U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry accused Russia of paying people to cause unrest in eastern Ukraine. And in Ukraine's capital of Kiev, lawmakers threw punches after a Communist Party member accused Nationalist Party members of inciting violent protests. 4 policemen were killed and 13 others wounded today when a suicide bomber targeted a police checkpoint north of Baghdad. The bomber drove a vehicle loaded with explosives into the checkpoint. The blast caused one nearby building to collapse. The country's government continues to fight militants for control of cities in western Iraq. The bombing comes as the country prepares for parliamentary elections later this month. And workers building Brazil's 2016 Olympic Park have gone on strike, demanding higher wages and health care. The strike began April 3rd, and last night there were reports of shots fired during arguments between workers and guards. Workers on strike want health coverage for themselves and their families. The group responsible for the park says the strike will not affect the completion of Olympic Park, which is scheduled for the first half of next year.
Certainly a mixed bag of weather out there today. Some sunshine, some clouds, some rain. Kenton, what's the evening hold for?
Going to be rebounding a little bit here tomorrow. We'll talk about it coming up.
Boy, grandparents, they can't wait to get their hands on those grandkids often. How taking care of grandchildren could have its benefits.
Plus, the study finds fewer teens are becoming pregnant, but hear what other statistic has experts concerned. Right now, you're taking a live look over the lake. It's about to warm up here pretty soon. It's 5:09, and this is KOMU 8 News, first at 5, coverage you can count on.